Okay. Alright. So, haven't done a little... Okay. Haven't done a video in a while. Some crazy stuff's been going on, and it's just been hard for me to, I guess, get the motivation or the courage to do a video, you know? I wanted to talk about something, though, that I thought was interesting. I've been learning some different spiritual concepts, and I just kind of want to clarify some things. There are people out there that believe that spirituality is more of a religion, or it's more of a way of thinking that's, I don't know, more rumor-based than fact-based, you know? And what I mean by that is, like, someone's like, where do you get your spiritual information? You know, I hear different people talk about it, but the thing that's different with spirituality versus religion is you hear people talk about religion, and then that's kind of it, you know? Like, you'll have an experience here or there or whatever, but with spirituality, it's more about diving into the pool and figuring things out yourself, you know? It's like religion gives you a box of Legos that you can't open, whereas spirituality, the Legos are on the floor and you pick up the pieces and you put things together and you can kind of understand things from your perception. And spirituality can be translated in so many different ways and facets, and you can grow and learn and become something more. Whereas religion, it's kind of like, well, do this, do this, do this, and you'll get this, right? It's a punishment reward based system. Whereas with spirituality, it's more of a letting yourself be, understanding yourself, and just trying to get to that point where you can experience things better. From my perspective, of course. But kind of what I was thinking was there's three different levels of experiencing yourself, and the other two levels aren't even ego-based. So the first level is ego, and that is the self. That's the preservation self. That's the I am this, and without this I am nothing. That's kind of the first thing that you deal with, and maybe that's where the shadow side kind of comes in. It's kind of a psychic mechanism to protect yourself. So the self exists as, this is my body, okay, without this I am nothing, right? We're several millions and billions of organisms composed into a body, which is an energy or a frequency, and we think that we are just this and that's it, and we'll protect ourselves, self-preservation. There's nothing wrong with that. But it goes beyond that into, we get in arguments, and the only thing that we're trying to do is make our point valid. And that goes to the exclusion of hurting the other person, or the inclusion of hurting the other person. That goes into a way where you're trying to get your point across to do whatever. That's a self thing. That's trying to preserve the self. Your pride, your ego, your mechanism for self-existence, which that doesn't need to be the case. The other one, though, is more like a higher up level. Like, you've heard of mindfulness, okay, and you go from being in a reactive state where you would normally be angry or sad or whatever, and you go into a place where you don't react to anything. You just kind of observe yourself watching it, right? Or you're the observer in this situation. And as the observer, looking at yourself, you can realize that you can react to it. It's not going to do anything. If someone tries to hurt you, and you try to hurt them, nothing's going to come of it. And especially if it's been going on for a really long time, you got to think about that, where someone is trying to hurt you. When you say something or you do something and react, that's kind of what they're trying to do. Eventually the situation can diffuse. If you don't respond anymore, the person will stop trying to, force their opinion. I mean, they still will to an extent, but when you're not reacting with it, it can only go so high. When you react, it keeps going to higher and higher and higher and higher levels, but when you stay here and they try to get it up here, and you're just staying down here, the conversation can't escalate to a level where you would lose control. But then there's an even further state where you're speaking and you're observing the observer, which would be what I would call, and I think other people have too. I'm not making this up. I'm not pulling it out of my ass. I've just been listening to different things, been experiencing different things, and I'm just telling you what resonated with me, and then you guys can make your own decision or leave a comment down below or whatever, because that's what it's about. And this is where you can't even define it. So if someone tried to define the third level of spiritual existence, you can't. By human terms, it's non-definable. It would be basically like it would be like your like a red blood cell or like a white blood cell trying to speak to you in its own language, and you looking at it and hearing it. Like, it doesn't make sense. It's like our God self, but we're like the microbiology in the universe compared to the macro, which is God or the universe or whatever. And so it would be like almost impossible to describe. But you know when you're there because it's a feeling that you have in your heart. It's like and I know it sounds cliche. I know that's like every like Disney movies, follow your heart, your heart, whatever. In a sense, though, it really is true, but it's not the heart of, like, it's the feeling of finally being able to let go of something. And when you let go, you actually gain something. You don't lose anything. You feel like if you let go, the ego says that we're going to lose part of ourselves if we let go, and that's not the case. We actually gain more. It's a mechanism that we've put into ourselves to prevent ourselves from discovering our fullness, right? It's the matrix of disbelief, I suppose, that we've installed into ourselves because society tells us we have to have it. We have to react. We have to do all this stuff. I hope what I'm saying makes sense, you guys. If it doesn't, then I don't know. If it doesn't, then it doesn't. But at least to me, this is helping me, and talking to you guys will help me too. Okay, so I think that's it. I think that's all I got. But let me know in the comments and stuff what you guys think, and we can go from there. And I really appreciate talking to you guys, and I'll talk to you guys later. See ya.